boys and girls. Welcome. I am Miss Kim, and I am so glad you joined me today. I have a special book that will teach us about responsibility and a science lesson with algae. I know. What does responsibility and algae have to do with each other? Well, in this book, Teddy really wants a puppy, and he has to show his mom and dad that he is responsible. And in doing so, he learns all about algae. What is algae? Well, let's begin our story, The Green Dog, and see if we can discover that, just like Teddy did. This book is by Melinda Luke, illustrated by Jane Manning. Can you tell what this book is going to be about just by looking at the cover? Well, let's begin. Look at that, I shouted. There was something at the far end of the lake. It was green. It was swimming. My sister Lizzie shrieked, "It's a monster!" "Let's follow it," yelled my friend Bart. But the green thing was gone. Do you boys and girls see something in that lake swimming that is green? Well, let's discover what it is. "What was that?" asked Lizzie. "The monster of Emerald Lake," said Bart in a scary voice. "Actually, I think it was a dog," I said. "Oh, Teddy," said Bart, "you've got dogs on the brain." "That reminds me," I said, "I'd better practice." I used my best begging voice. "Mom, Dad, may I please have a dog?" "They can't say no to that," said Bart. But they did. "A dog needs training," my mom said. "And care," said my dad. "Lots of people have dogs," I told them. "It can't be that hard." They promised to think it over. Later on, I went back to the lake. I was hoping I'd see that green dog again. Instead, I saw Will Roper. Will was new in town. His job was to make sure the lake was safe for swimming and fishing. "Hey, Teddy," said Will, "why so gloomy?" "I asked my parents for a dog," I explained, "but they think it's too much responsibility." "Show them you can handle it," said Will. Will gave Teddy an idea. That night, I thought about Will's advice. Then I had a great idea. I'd look for pet sitting jobs. That would show I was responsible. Teddy Green, pet sitter, very responsible. That's what he's thinking while he's laying in bed. Right away, I got 2 jobs. "Feed our goldfish while we are camping," said the Novaks. "Feed my ducks while I'm on vacation," said Mr. Garrett. Wow, he has 2 jobs. He's responsible for these 2 fish and responsible for those ducks. Well, let's just see what happens. I started pet sitting the next day. I even bought a notebook so I could write down what I did. Very responsible. I went to the Novak's house. Their googly-eyed goldfish gobbled up the fancy fish flakes right away. "It's gloomy in this corner," I told them. "You need some sun." I moved the goldfish bowl to a windowsill. Next, I fed Mr. Garrett's ducklings. You need sun too, I said. I moved the umbrella away from their pool. Then I wrote in my notebook, says, my first day, fed fish, put bowl in sun, fed ducks. They quacked, moved umbrella. Those are good notes, aren't they? Every day I fed the goldfish. Every day I fed the ducklings. Every day Bart and I saw the green dog at the far end of the lake. That dog keeps getting greener, said Bart. It's weird. I'll tell you something just as weird, I said. The water in the goldfish bowl and the duck pool is green too. You're kidding, said Bart. I'm not, I told him, but I have an idea. Oh, he writes, water in fishbowl looks green. Water in duck pool looks green. And then he asks the question, why? Let's see if we can discover it. I got 2 jars and filled one with water from the goldfish bowl. I even scraped some green stuff from the sides. Bart filled the other jar with water from the duck pool. Then we took the jars to Will. That's a good idea. Let's see what he says. Hey, Teddy. Hey, Bart, said Will. What are you doing with all that green water? I'm having problems with my pet sitting jobs, I told him. These are the samples from the goldfish bowl and the duck pool. Could you look at them? Sure, said Will. We can compare them to some water from the lake. Ah, that's a good idea. The lake water looks kind of green too, I said. Do you know why? Asked Will. Plants? I guessed. That's a good guess. I don't see roots or leaves, Bart said. You're looking at green algae, said Will. They don't have any. I grabbed my notebook. How do you spell that? Algae, said Will. Here, let's look at your samples under the microscope. Bart looked first. Is that ziggy-zaggy stuff green algae? He asked. Will checked and said, it sure is. Then I looked. I even drew a picture. There's his picture of the algae that he saw under the microscope. This is how green algae looks under a microscope, he wrote. Okay, let's see what else happens. What makes this stuff grow? I asked. Food, green algae, and green plants make their own, Will said. They need sunlight to do that. Sunlight? I asked. I grabbed my notebook. He looks back from the first day. My first day, he fed fish, put bowl in sun, fed ducks, they quacked, moved umbrella. I get it, I said. The algae grew because I put the fish bowl and duck pool in the sun. What if I put them back in the shade? I asked. You won't have an algae problem, said Will, but first scrub out the bowl and the pool and put in clean water. Case solved, Bart said. Thanks for telling us all about algae, I said. Will grinned. I'm just getting started, he said. Oh, I thought. Bart had a let's go look on his face. So Teddy wrote in his notebook, no sunlight, no algae. Ah, do you see? Algae grows in the sunlight. But it was too late to leave. Will had pulled out a file marked algae. I got ready to be bored, but it was full of cool stuff. Look at all of this he pulled out. All kinds of articles about algae. There was even a story about green polar bears. I wondered. At that moment, there was a scratching noise at the door and it swung open. It's the lake monster, Bart said. That's no monster, that's my dog Molly, said Will. And she's green from the algae in the lake, I said. That's right, said Will. Wow, said Bart. Cool, I said. Green algae can make a white dog look green. Wow, look how green his fur is. He always goes swimming in that lake. Remember the cover on the book? Yeah, that was the dog, Molly. Will Molly always be green? Asked Bart. No, said Will. She's about to have puppies. After that, she'll stop swimming for a while and turn into a white dog again. But she'll start swimming again, I thought, and take the family? So here Teddy's thinking, oh no, her puppies are going to turn green. A few weeks later, when I came down to breakfast, Mom said, the Novaks and Mr. Garrett called. They said, you're a very responsible pet sitter. We're both really proud of you, said Dad. Oh, and Will Roper stopped by, Mom added. He wanted to tell you that Molly was white again. Said you'd understand. I sure did. Molly must have had her puppies. Can I go over to Will's house? I asked. Can Bart come with me? Sure, said my parents. Let's all go. Oh, wow, what fun. They're all going to see the new puppies. Come meet Molly and her pups, said Will. Wow, I said. They were the cutest puppies I had ever seen. This one's got your name on it, Will said. He's mine? I asked. I couldn't believe it. He is, said my parents. He likes you already, said Bart. What are you going to name him? That was easy. I'm calling him Al, I said, for algae. What a cute name for his puppy. Boys and girls, that was a cute story. And he showed his parents that he could be responsible by taking on a pet sitting job, didn't he? And then when he had problems with the green water, what was it? That's right, algae. All because he let the sun in on the water. What a good story to teach us a science lesson about algae and responsibility. Boys and girls, thank you for joining me today. And remember, a good book and your imagination will take you anywhere. Bye.